Hi, everyone. I'm Beverly Naidus, and I am in the nascent arts program. Have been saying that for 15 years now. Um, and I'm going to be speaking about a project that I brought to Europe. Last year I was on sabbatical. And I have to say that looking at art with this grid is problematic for me. I just wanted to mention that. This is a very minimalist project in certain ways, and it's really interrupting to see that grid across the screen. So I have been teaching here for 15 years. There's my website. I do interactive installations, artist books, and have developed a very innovative pedagogy, which I wrote about in a book called Arts for Change, that was published in 2009. It's being used all over the world, and that's one of the reasons I got the opportunity to have this show in Brighton. This is the collective that I worked with to create the project, even though they didn't build it with me. Their name is Artifacts, and in 2011, I moved to Seattle from Vashon Island and needed to find my peers in order to create a sense that there's a community of activist art practitioners. And I had discussion groups in my studio in Madison Valley. And these are some of the people who said, yeah, I want to work with you on projects. So we devoted ourselves to doing local and global social justice projects together. This is the project that the group helped me hatch called We Almost Didn't Make It. And climate change and the rise of fascism are both global issues with deep consequences. As an artist who's been devoted to making art about social issues, healing from trauma caused by the latter, and shaping community from that process, it was natural that I brought this project to Europe. This interactive installation was on display at Anka Gallery in Brighton. And I also led workshops about the content of this project in Glasgow and took the work to France and Spain. The interactive installation gives visitors an opportunity to process their fears, grief, and despair about the future and turn those feelings into fuel for activism. We Almost Didn't Make It explored ways to negotiate the barrage of daily assaults on our psyches by imagining ourselves as ancestors and how we can help improve the lives of future generations. Visitors are asked to think of a precious thing that may or may not exist in 150 years and create an object that represents that thing. Into that object, they are asked to insert a commitment to an action that may help our descendants not only exist but thrive. Visitors walk through curtains made from scrap plastic, naming the daily traumas we are experiencing in our world today. Some people describe the curtains as oppressive themselves, claustrophobic, and felt that their movement through them was like swimming. Once the object was made on a work table, visitors could place the artifact into the portal of possibilities, naming values that we might want to see manifesting in future societies. But first they had to wipe their feet on doormats that represent thoughts that may hinder our abilities to take positive action on behalf of our communities. The wiping of feet helped to move those thoughts through the body. A goal of this installation is to foster more dialogue about ways to move past dystopic thinking and support resilient activism. So here's a sign that people confronted in the gallery. We almost didn't make it, but you did not give up, and we are alive in your future. What choices you make and what actions you take may make it possible for us to not only exist, but thrive. And there you see the portal of possibilities and some of the doormats that people had to wipe their feet on before they could place their object there. In the portal, you can see that there are words that say things like shared governance and abolishment of prisons and shared abundance, so people could place their object in the portal near something that they value. And here are some of the workshops that I did in both Glasgow and Brighton, with different participants brainstorming and working together on an object that represents something dear to them that may not exist in 150 years due to climate change. And there you can see the portal of possibilities with things that many of us think on a daily basis, like overwhelmed, no time, not my problem, it'll never get better, just too tired, we should just go extinct. And you can see that the amount of objects increased over the duration of the exhibit. And I should mention that all of my interactive installations give the audience an opportunity to share stories, to converse about the problem, talk about how easy it is to get sucked into dystopic thinking in our culture. That's what the media is encouraging by what they show us on a daily basis. And it's real. Those issues are quite real. And how do we take what we understand as a possibility in our future, which feels very, very difficult, and stuff that we're grieving, and transform it into fuel for activism? What is needed for that to happen? What was exciting about this particular installation in Brighton was that it was on a busy street and people came in off the street. They didn't know what they were coming into. Many of them had never been in the gallery before, but they were very intrigued by these plastic curtains. Some came in on their lunch breaks, some came in on their way to the dentist, and we had conversations about how to think about the future in a very different way and how to take feelings which are very difficult and transform them into fuel for activism. Thank you very much.